on form. Now, another stream which has been sort of affected by second language acquisition research is focus on form. Focus on form or pedagogy or teaching that is focused on teaching the different elements of the language lie almost in opposition to the communicative language teaching. However, it does not need to be always like that. So, as we said, focus on form has some ground in second language acquisition research. Research does endorse it. It does say that when learners are given an environment in which they are able to focus on the form of the language, the results are positive. There have been since then a proliferation or an abundance of new proposals for pedagogical interventions. These interventions can be done in several ways. So, if we are to take an example, and if we would like to have still have some sort of communicative language teaching in our classrooms, we might have a classroom where we allow our learners to focus on the formal elements of the language, how the grammatical structure is presented, and then we also have this communicative purpose to the language. So either before or after the lesson, which is focused on communication and real life communication. For instance, the use of has been, if you would like to introduce that. But the learners are not exclusively focusing only on the form. They are also not exclusively focusing on communicative use of language, where they do not pay attention to the form of the language that is conveying a specific meaning. Yet they are saying, how does a specific form convey a specific meaning? And they are given this space to practice language. There are several versions possible. For instance, they are allowed to focus on form and then they are given some communicative activities to practice it. Or they are given some communicative activities and then later on they are asked to analyze the text and actually find out what is there or what type of grammatical structure has conveyed them a specific meaning. We have, under this umbrella of focus on form, we have Long's interaction hypothesis, which he presented in 1983. Now, Long argued that negotiation of meaning in interaction between learners and other speakers is extremely important. Now, let me remind you what is a negotiation. A negotiation is a communicative event or a discussion, sort of a discussion between someone who does not, in this context at least, it is someone who does not know the language so much, and then there is someone who knows the language better than that person, or that person is also at the same stage of learning. But together they try to sort of speak in the second language and communicate their meaning to each other and interpret each other's meaning. This is negotiation. Long argued that this negotiation is extremely important for the learning of the second language, because it is because of this negotiation that the learner gets the negative feedback. That is, the learner realizes that the way he or she is communicating a specific message, it has certain problems. So he or she, notices the problem in their own language, and this also leads the learners to focus on the form of language. They realize that this important link between form and the meaning of the language, and they try to focus on both. So Long argued that formal instruction of this kind was extremely important, whether the learners came from an environment where second language was spoken a lot, that is an acquisition-rich environment, or whether the learners came from an environment where second language was not spoken so much outside the classrooms, that is an environment which is acquisition poor. In this, Long actually differentiates between synthetic approach to syllabus and analytic approach to syllabus. Synthetic approach is when you're focusing on different forms only. Analytic approach is when you are trying to match the communicative approach and the focus on form. In any case, we'll discuss these in the next module.